Today, we're delving into the world of, well, let's call it creative entrepreneurship. We all know crime doesn't pay, but what if it doesn't even make sense? Let's find out how some of the stupidest criminals in the world went about this. In September 2022, a 41-year-old man entered a gas station store in Memphis, Tennessee at 1:30 a.m. He whipped out a firearm in front of a 78-year-old store clerk who had probably seen more action in life than this wannabe bandit. The robber demanded cash, but the woman managed to evade harm simply by ducking under the counter. The guy realized there wasn't much else he could do and decided to leave the premises with no cash but a dose of humiliation. He hopped into his getaway car, a black Chevy Impala, ready for a grand escape. But hold your popcorn. It turns out our genius forgot to check the gas gauge before deciding to drive away from the gas station. In the meantime, the police located him and a high-speed pursuit started. However, the Impala pulled a fast and furious move and ran out of gas faster than your smartphone battery. The would-be getaway driver then decided to ditch the car and make a run for it. But the cops caught him faster than he ran out of fuel. Lesson learned, folks. If you're planning the perfect crime, maybe check your gas tank first. On the 12th of December 2023, a 27-year-old man entered a shopping center in Colorado Springs. He flashed a handgun to grab some electronics and thought he was off to the races. Little did he know, the real marathon was about to begin. An employee working at the store, probably moonlighting as Sherlock Holmes, decided to play detective. The suspect, in an attempt to pull off the ultimate Clark Kent move, darted into another store, changed his clothes, and tried to walk out as a different person. But our employee was not to be fooled, and he instantly recognized the robber. The police showed up just in time, and then began a chase on foot. The suspect weaved through a crowded restaurant and entered the kitchen area only to find a dead end in front of him. With nowhere to go from there, he decided to hide into a walk-in freezer. He was hoping the cops won't look there and may get caught up with some donuts instead. The police, without skipping a beat, apprehended the chilly culprit amidst frozen peas and ice cream tubs. And to add a touch of irony, they escorted him to a warmer place, the El Paso County Jail. Talk about trading the freezer for the frying pan. Next, we have an incident where Ocean's 11 meets Dumb and Dumber, with a touch of unexpected recycling. On the morning of July 27, 2023, a would-be burglar decided to pull off a bank heist at the crack of dawn in Huron, Ohio. The police received an alarm from the bank and arrived at the location, only to find that the robber was nowhere to be seen. However, the officers could hear some noises coming from the roof area above the bank's drive-thru. Additionally, they observed a blue recycling trash can that was suspiciously placed in the center of a drive-thru lane directly beneath a door providing access to the roof. While the officers were trying to make sense of it, the roof access door suddenly opened and a man plummeted into the recycling bin below. Turns out that this was the whole getaway plan for the robber. In the true spirit of reduce, reuse, and get arrested, the police immediately arrested the guy and captured the incident on their body cams. They say don't bring a knife to a gunfight, but it's still arguably better than bringing a knife to a gun store robbery. This is exactly what happened in Oregon in July 2013, when a 22-year-old man decided to rob a gun store to upgrade his weapons. Armed with only a baseball bat and a knife, the guy decided to smash through a glass display case to grab a handgun for himself. But the store manager pulled out his handgun and decided to give the would-be robber a crash course in the art of surrender. The wannabe robber was then stripped of his bat, a 9-inch knife, and the shiny new handgun he had stolen, all while lying on the floor as if he were auditioning for a community theater production of Crime and Punishment. So remember folks, if you're planning a heist, at least bring the right tools for the job. In September 2007, a 24-year-old guy broke into a house and decided to steal some jewelry and a checkbook. In his pursuit, he slid past a lady who was ironing and managed to end up in the bedroom while looking for few other things to steal. While he was trying to grind through a hard day's work, his morning cocktail of vodka and Valium kicked in, and he just dozed off under the bed. Fast forward to the dramatic moment when the Iron Lady entered the bedroom and found the robber not lurking in the shadows or making a stealthy exit, but fast asleep under her bed. The lady, in shock, and probably thinking she's stumbled into a sitcom, tried to wake him up. She shouted at him, shook him, but our robber was in dreamland, clutching the stolen jewelry like it was his security blanket. Eventually, the police arrived and managed to drag the napping genius out from under the bed. The guy ended up in court and got an 18-month jail sentence. Our next robber failed in his robbery attempt not once but twice in the same night. In February 2013, a man tried to enter a house in Abington, England. Described by his counsel as a clumsy and pathetic heroin addict, the robber completely failed to break into his first target. He did, however, cut himself on the door lock, leaving a good amount of blood behind, making it quite easy for the police to trace the crime to him. While that was certainly an amateur move, his second break-in attempt of the night was what made him one of the most bumbling burglars of all time. Having failed to break into the first house, he set his sights on another home in the nearby area. He approached the property, put his hand through an already broken glass window, and attempted to let himself in. Unbeknownst to him, though, the house had already been burglarized that night and police were on site interviewing the victim when he stumbled up in front of them. By the time he noticed the cops inside, it was too late to flee, and he was easily apprehended. Our next story unfolds in Carroll, Iowa, where two aspiring burglars decided to redefine the art of disguise. On a Friday night in October 2009, the Carroll police received a call about two mysterious figures attempting to break into a man's home. The police stopped a vehicle matching the caller's description just a few blocks away, and the suspects were immediately identified because of their unconventional disguise. They weren't sporting ski masks or the classic stockings over their heads. Instead, they had opted for a bold choice and had streaked their faces with a permanent black marker. They thought it would be a great disguise, but forgot that the marker streaks were so permanent that they could be very easily identified later on. Turns out the incident was a result of dumbness combined with alcohol. Both the suspects were charged with attempted burglary, and one of them was charged additionally with operating a vehicle while intoxicated. And now we arrive at the stupidest robbery attempt in our list. The incident occurred in the iconic year of 1995, when two men named MacArthur Wheeler and Clifton Earl Johnson robbed two Pittsburgh banks in broad daylight. Wearing no mask or disguise of any kind, the men held guns to the teller's face, all while believing they had the superpower to be invisible. However, the security cameras captured every glorious moment of their obviously visible faces. When the police arrived, they had a good look at the security footage and also featured it on the local news. Johnson was caught early, and within a few days, the police got a tip about Wheeler's location. The police, armed with common sense and the desire for a good story, knocked on MacArthur Wheeler's door. Wheeler opened the door with a look of surprise and disbelief on his face. He explained that he was wearing lemon juice on his face during the robbing and that it should have been impossible to see him. He believed that lemon juice, the same stuff used as invisible ink, would render his face invisible to security cameras. To prove his theory, he did what any scientific mind would do, rubbed juice on his face and snapped a selfie with a Polaroid camera. And the result? A faceless selfie. Genius, right? Well, not exactly. Turns out Wheeler was about as skilled with selfies as he was with robbing banks, and he had probably clicked the photo without him being even in the frame. There was, however, a tiny hiccup in Wheeler's grand plan. The lemon juice stung his eyes so badly that he could barely see. But hey, who didn't have to make sacrifices for art, or in this case, crime? Wheeler and Johnson went down in history as one of the world's dumbest criminals. Their story caught the eye of David Dunning, a Cornell psychology professor, who saw in it a universal truth. Those lacking in knowledge and skills are the least able to appreciate that lack. And thus, the Dunning-Kruger effect was born. So there you have it, folks. A world where the would-be criminals make you question their life choices more than the legality of their actions. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe for more such content.